All right, let's dive right into this explainer and unpack what is, frankly, the most shocking, the most secretive, and literally the most financially unprecedented free agency move in modern sports history. We are talking about LeBron James taking his talents to the Philadelphia 76ers for his 24th NBA season. But the question that has the entire sports world buzzing right now is simply this. Why on earth did LeBron James just take the biggest pay cut in NBA history? Well, to really wrap our heads around the sheer gravity of his decision to join the Sixers, we've got to look at the jaw-dropping numbers involved. And I mean jaw-dropping. $48.7 million. That's the exact dollar amount LeBron just left on the table. He went from making a colossal $52.6 million in his final year with the Lakers down to a 2-year, $7.9 million veteran minimum contract. I mean, why do that? Well, after the Sixers made a flurry of major offseason moves, they were hard-capped. They literally only had a minimum contract left to offer him to fit under the cap, and he took it. Section 1, the biggest pay cut ever. To put this into perspective and show just how historic this really is, LeBron's $48.7 million drop is the single largest in the history of the league. It absolutely dwarfs the massive salary drops we saw from guys like Russell Westbrook and Blake Griffin. It puts this move in a financial stratosphere entirely of its own. Hearing the rationale directly from the man himself actually reveals a lot. LeBron said, "I'm not going for money. I'm not going for family. I still want to sacrifice. I still want to work." Keep in mind, Forbes estimates LeBron's net worth is sitting right around $1.4 billion. When you have that level of wealth, a few million bucks is basically a rounding error. His agent, Rich Paul, made it crystal clear this decision was purely about finding basketball happiness and spending every waking minute focused on chasing one final championship. Section 2. Inside the secret chase. So after looking at 27 different teams, LeBron's camp narrowed their focus down to these final 5 contenders. And each one offered a vastly different, legacy-defining option, right? You had Cleveland for the ultimate hometown storybook ending, Miami to reunite with a star trio, Golden State where he could finally join forces with Steph Curry, Minnesota for young, explosive core, and then Philadelphia, which presented a ready-made championship roster. But honestly, the craziest part? LeBron actually turned down a massive 1-year, $20 million offer from the Clippers just to stay in LA. He walked away from all of that just to evaluate these final 5 options. And as you'll see here, the evolution of his decision is a wild ride. Early June, LeBron holds this secret, totally off-the-record, in-person meeting with Cleveland Cavaliers leadership. At that point, it really looked like he was heading home. But then, late June rolls around and everything completely shifts. Boston inexplicably trades reigning Finals MVP Jaylen Brown to the 76ers. Just like that, Philly becomes incredibly appealing. Throughout July, LeBron is vacationing in Europe, staying completely radio silent. Finally, at 5:30 a.m. on July 24th, right after a morning workout, he sends a text to the Philly front office that just says, "Sixers it is." And then he announces the move to the world using a one-of-one Topps trading card. Classic LeBron. Section 3. Building a super team. But now that the ink is dry, a massive debate has blown up across the league. Will a 4-time MVP actually become the 4th option on a team? An ex-teammate sparked a ton of media debate by suggesting that LeBron is actually going to be the 4th option behind Embiid, Brown, and Maxey. And honestly, it raises some pretty serious questions about how the superstar core is actually going to share the basketball. So it really comes down to how this chemistry develops. On the one hand, you have incredible roster uncertainty, right? Like, how do you balance touches among all these superstars, plus rising talent like VJ Edgecombe? But on the other hand, you really have to consider the Maxey connection. Rich Paul pointed out that LeBron and Tyrese Maxey have actually been working out together for 5 years. They have built invaluable trust. Usually, when a megastar like LeBron joins a team, it forces everybody else to completely figure out a new hierarchy. But that 5-year relationship, it gives this duo a massive head start in figuring out the flow of the offense. And out on the court, here's exactly what that connection is going to look like, the inverted pick and roll. Basically, this is an offensive strategy where a smaller player like Maxey sets a screen for a much larger ball handler, like LeBron. Analysts fully expect this specific, basically unguardable play to absolutely terrorize the NBA this season. It's going to force favorable defensive mismatches, which allows LeBron to use his massive size to just bully smaller guard defenders. It is going to be an absolute nightmare for opposing coaches to scheme against. Section 4. The LeBron Economy. Now, the moment he announced the deal, the business side of basketball went into absolute overdrive. Fanatics reported that LeBron's new number 23 Sixers jersey just shattered the all-time 48-hour sales record for a player joining a new team. You know who the previous record holder was? Baseball superstar Shohei Ohtani when he joined the Dodgers. LeBron completely eclipsed that milestone in less than 2 days.
In fact, you've got to consider this staggering metric. 8 out of 10. Since the announcement, 8 of the top 10 best-selling products across the entire Fanatics network of sports merchandise are currently LeBron James 76ers gear. It's wild. He is single-handedly dominating the global sports retail economy right now.
Section 5. One last ride. And here's where it gets really, really exciting for us as fans. We're all going to get a front row seat to watch this history unfold. Reports indicate that ESPN is essentially on the 1-yard line of finalizing a serialized Last Dance-style documentary chronicling LeBron's upcoming season in Philly. Supposedly, an ESPN camera crew is securing unprecedented behind-the-scenes access to document every single high and low of this incredible journey. Now, while LeBron called this his last decision, which obviously hints strongly at retirement, his agent Rich Paul dropped a really tantalizing hint. He said, maybe we get 2 seasons, maybe we get 4. See, because he took such a massive pay cut to sign this minimum deal, which does actually include a player option for the second year, by the way, the financial flexibility is absolutely there for him to extend his career well beyond this single year if the fit turns out to be right. So that brings us to our ultimate question. After sacrificing nearly $50 million just to chase one final ring, is LeBron James the missing piece to snap a 43-year championship drought for Philadelphia? Honestly, with the cameras rolling and this super team finally assembled, we're about to find out if King James can be the guy who finally teaches the 76ers how to trust the process all the way to an NBA title. What a season we have ahead of us.